Good morning, everyone. I wanted to open today's service by formally sharing with you the announcement of Sharona Johnson's death. For those of you that did not have the great fortune of knowing Sharona, she was a member of our congregation for longer than I've been here, and I've been here 11 years. She and her family have been a very important part of this community for generations, it feels like, but certainly for years. I thought I would get dressed up and try to make this light and as airy as I could. And honestly, I decided that this face of grief just has to be the authentic expression of how I feel right now. It's been a long week. Um, Sharona took her life on Monday evening, and we don't know many of the details. And I know that there are people who will be here to help us to share and to let us know some of the answers to some questions that we may have, how we can support the Johnsons, how we can be there for them in this moment of really deep pain and grief. But we're going to do the best we can. And I'm here, not only as a friend, but as the president of this congregation to let everybody know that I'm feeling this pain, and I know we're all feeling this pain together at the loss of this really powerful, wonderful, amazing individual. Let me give you a little bit of background and a little bit of thought about Sharona and her family and why they are so important to me and to this congregation. Her husband, Sayer, has been a member of this congregation for a long time as well. And he actually served in the presidential rotation a number of years ago. Sharona led our caring committee, and she was very actively involved in having a very clear program of making sure that we reach out to people and we give them the care and the support that they need in their time of trouble. All of their children have come through the OWL program and were active members of our RE program. The Johnsons helped us rebuild homes in New Orleans and in East St. Louis. They fed the disadvantaged with us on fourth Saturday lunches and provided, personal care items to people who needed them. They've celebrated Mardi Gras with us and Dia de los Muertos, and they were always looking for ways to put our church community first. Camp Fest existed for years because the mighty Johnsons believed that we could find community next to nature overlooking the Illinois River in Grafton, Illinois. And those memories for this congregation, for those who were able to partake at the time, those memories are really powerful. That camping ministry was really wonderful for all of us for the years that we were able to do that. Although Sharona didn't attend this church in the most recent year or so, largely that was because she was struggling deeply with a pain that really none of us could imagine. She was still loved and respected, and her presence was greatly missed. Or maybe you can imagine what her pain was. I can't speak to that, but I know that what she was feeling and experiencing was really beyond my comprehension. I know there was pain that was vast and deep, to the point where she felt it was insurmountable and a giant chasm in front of her, and she could no longer straddle those painful edges of that chasm, and she fell into that pit of despair and decided that there was no return. And that greatly saddens me that, she felt that pain so deeply, and there was nothing that we could do to help her. I've tried to come up with words to describe Sharona and what she meant to me and to so many of us. And the one word that comes up time and time again was fierce. She loved and lived fiercely and challenged all of us to do the same. She provided me with guidance on how to be a better mama. And she always had my kids' best interests at heart and always reached out to me to have conversations about this. She had compassion for so many and pushed all of us to be the best that we could be because she just knew we had it in us. She lived large and loud and proud. She loved large and loud and proud, and she loved her babies. She loved her larger core community, and she loved her church community fiercely. This church became a better place because of her and the Mighty Johnsons, and they are at the center of a friendship circle that I will forever be grateful that I am a part of. And I can't imagine my life without them and without this church and without the foundation of love that they have shown me and so many others. Sharona loved Blue Boat Home, and so we're going to sing that song for her today. I want you to please sing it out loud and proud and as loud as she would have done, because she would sing that song at the top of her lungs and love every minute of it. And while that song is playing, I've chosen a few photos that capture her energy and her essence that I think, certainly from my perspective, when I think of Sharona, I see these pictures and I think of her. One of my favorites is a photo of her holding Sally Olt's hand, and we lost Sally a number of years ago to cancer, for those of you that did not know Sally. That's one of my favorite pictures of her. So take this moment to take a deep breath, to think of Sharona, to think of the Mighty Johnsons and how we can support them the best that we can. I know that the board will be talking at our next meeting this week about how we can do something to support that family the best that we can. Please enjoy and sing one last song for Sharona, Blue Boat Home. Thank you.
Though below me I feel no motion, standing on these mountains and plains, far away from the rolling ocean, still my dry land heart can say, I've been sailing all my life now, never harbor or port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home. Sun, my sail, and moon, my rudder, as I ply the starry sea, leaning over the edge in wonder, casting questions into the deep, drifting here with my ship's companions, all we kindred pilgrim souls, making our way by the lights of the heavens in our beautiful blue boat home. I give thanks to the waves upholding me, hail the great winds urging me on, greet the infinite sea before me, sing the sky my sailor's song. I was born upon the fathoms Never harbor or port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat. My blue boat home.
Good morning. Welcome to this virtual space of the First Unitarian Church of Alton. I am glad you could join us as we come together from our varied many spaces and our varied times that we can be together. Though we are not physically together, we are always together in many ways through our shared faith and our love of community and our love of each other. It is with deep, profound sadness that we come together after the death of our beautiful friend Sharona. She is a light to everyone who knows her. Her physical presence and her joy will be forever missed. Her spirit will always be with us as we journey together. We come today recognizing that the land that our church physically occupies is but one of many who have occupied this land, been present to this land. For many centuries, the land was cared for by peoples that the French invaders called Alenawic, but who they themselves called Inoka. We must recognize, too, that our land is baptized in the blood, the sweat, and the tears of African slaves who were torn from their ancestors and their ancestral lands and forced to labor in our land, the land of the free. We must recognize our privilege and be mindful of our journey to bring justice and equity to our community and to all our siblings wherever and whoever they may be. We open today with an opening prayer entitled A Prayer for Hard Times by Christian Schmidt. Spirit of life and love, be with us in this time as people suffer, as parents grieve, as violence rages. Be with us who feel the pain of loss, who feel anger at injustice. Be with the oppressed and change the heart of the oppressor, for we know that both are joined in their humanity, no matter how often we forget it. Help us remember the hope we had, the hope we have, and the hope that we will have. Help us remember joy in the midst of sadness, success in the midst of challenge, and good things in the midst of bad. Help us to be better people, to work for better things, and to create a better world. Amen. Our first hymn today will be number 124, Be That Guide. And we're going to do it just a little bit different. It'll be chanted here. Be that guide whom love sustains. Rise above the daily strife. Lift on high the good you find. Help to heal the hurts of life. Be that helper nothing daunts, doubt of friend or taunt of foe. Ever strive for liberty. Show the path that life should go. Be that builder, trusting good, bitter though the test may be. Through all ages they are right, though they build in agony. Be that teacher faith directs, move beyond the old frontier, though the frightened fear that faith. Be tomorrow's pioneer. Be that guide whom love sustains, rise above the daily strife. Lift on high the good you find, help to heal the hurts of life. Our meditation today is entitled Bring Us Close to the Earth, and it's by Len Cox. This is a meditation on our humanness, our connection to the earth, our connection to all of existence. Spirit of life, ground of our being, root of unified mystery, growing into myriad branches of expression, bring us together now, bring us close to the earth, ear to the whispering grass, quietly, attentively, waiting with slow breaths, listening for the very stones to cry out. With their rocky stories of tectonic plates meeting and parting, meeting, their mineral memories of Hadean days, molten rocks flowing and joining. Their ancient legends of stars born out of the collapse of other stars. Help us to remember, help us to piece together our oneness with matter, our oneness that matters. With one more deep breath may we rise, star stuff walking and rolling across the surface of this impossible blue-green planet. May we join together to heal what is divided. May we find wholeness within, without, among, between. Eternal Source, seed of the universe, help us to grow peace. So be it, blessed be. Amen. Our reading today is taken from a book called A Temporary State of Grace. Here it is here. By David Blanchard, and it's called Why Did the UU Cross the Road? There may be several possible answers as to why the Unitarian Universalists might cross the road. Among them, because that's where they were serving coffee. They didn't cross it, they transcended it. Or that they only got as far as the middle of the road since they didn't want to take sides. The fact is that we crossed the road for the same reason that the chicken did, to get to the other side. Getting to the other side isn't always simple. People we love die. We grow and change in unexpected ways. We make mistakes and hurt people we care about, and vice versa. We can find ourselves more alone at times than we think we can bear, and yet there are times when we are overwhelmed by the beauty of this world, or by the blessing of unexpected kindness. Getting to the other side is made easier when we choose to travel with others. Life in community isn't always easy, but it's the only place we can practice being human. Finding our way to the other side is less treacherous when we listen and learn from those who have made the trip before and who know something about the route. Jesus, Buddha, Zoroaster, Rumi, Starhawk, Thoreau, Harriet Tubman, Malcolm X, Eldridge Cleaver, Angela Davis, Alicia Garcia, Harvey Milk. Teachers whose living was, and remains, a testament to the sacred dimensions of being human. We will reach the other side with fewer regrets and with less baggage if we have found a way to accept each other for who we are. Even as we seek to be who we might become, in community we are reminded of our ideals, yet it is also a place to confess our limitations and express our deepest hope. Liberal religion is not easy, but what we do have to offer is this: a tradition that affirms human dignity, that encourages spiritual growth and discovery, and that is intellectually honest in the face of the complexities of our time. We offer these tools in our companionship so that we might help each other get safely from here to the other side. Today's message or sermon is entitled Moving the Fences, the Essence of the Faith and Action of Unitarian Universalism. This is a sermon that I did many years ago here that I wanted to revisit again. And it's going to be a rambling sermon, so just bear with me. Thanks. This is based on a story that Eugene Robinson tells. Gene Robinson, as some of you might remember, was the first openly gay Episcopal bishop elected in the Episcopal Church in the United States. This is a story that he often tells, and I think this story illustrates very well what the Unitarian Universalist faith means to me. A group of soldiers in France during World War II, a group of 4 soldiers, were together when one of them was killed in combat. They took their friend's body to a church nearby, and they asked the priest if he would bury their friend. And the priest said he would happily do that, but he asked, is this man a Christian? And they said they didn't know. The priest said, I asked because this is consecrated ground, and I'm only allowed to bury someone in the consecrated ground that's a Christian. But I will bury your friend, but I will just bury him outside the fence here in the churchyard. But we will still take care of him. At the end of the war, the 3 remaining soldiers, making their way back, passed through the same town and decided to go visit the grave of their friend. The priest had allowed them to bury their friend outside the fence, so they went to look in the spot that they had buried him, but couldn't find him at all. Distressed, they went to the priest and asked them, Father, do you remember us? And he said, oh yes, of course I remember you. You brought your friend here. They said, we came to visit his grave, but we couldn't find it. Did you move him, or what happened? And the priest said, we didn't move him. We moved the fence. The priest had decided that he had to include their friend, whether he was a Christian or not. His humanity overcame any prescriptions that his religion might have forced him to do. For many of us who come to Unitarian Universalism, it is because we have escaped those fences. People in society are constantly putting up fences, especially in the age of Trump. Fences to keep people out, fences to keep people in. Fences everywhere. But there are fences that we can't see as well, too. Religions put up fences. Their signs say all are welcome here, but only if you conform to what they believe. If your beliefs or your actions or your families are anything different than what they accept, then you are thrown outside the fence. Fences exist throughout all of our history, throughout all of our humanity. The Native Americans saw the land as that which they could be stewards of and that which they could use to feed their families, to grow their crops, or to hunt the buffalo that would feed their families and provide for them through many seasons. There were no boundaries to the lands that the indigenous people had, but when the invaders came, the colonialists, the people, the Europeans, and others who came to take their land, what's the first thing that they did when they took their parcel of land? They put up a fence. It was always said that one of the greatest inventions of the 19th century was barbed wire, to put up that fence. So in essence, I think one of the beautiful things about Unitarian Universalism is the fact that we have been able to tear down these fences. Churches, religion, society have always been hostile to things that don't conform to what people in the past considered the norm. Same gender loving people, transgender people, people who are discovering who they are and who they love and who they are spiritually whole with, run into fences time and time again. But the beauty of our church is that we tear down these fences, open the gates, tear the fences down, open the lands. Everyone is welcome. It's interesting to note that in these times when we were coming together virtually like we are now, we aren't in our physical building. And some may have thought that we couldn't survive like this, that people would drift away. But I think it seems that we are coming together closer and closer. And I think people are finding this virtual space to be a comfort, I hope anyway. We are thriving, I think, in many ways. In many ways we are still struggling, but I think we are, from what I gather, we are thriving in many, many ways. So beyond the constraint of the physical building, maybe we still are church. We still are together. And wherever we may be, whether it be virtually, whether we are in our same building or where we are somewhere else, we are still the Unitarian Universalist Church of Alton. We are still a community of religious people, people of faith. And we are people of faith whether we believe in God or not. We have faith in each other. We have faith in humanity. And we have faith that in tearing down the fences that surround us, we will find justice, we will find equity, and we will find love and compassion for each other forever. Thank you for being here today. The sermon is a little short. My mind and thoughts have been in so many different places this week, and my heart is still hurting. The rage is still there. But we all can take comfort in the fact that we are together, at least for this little moment today. Our closing today is entitled A Power at Work in the Universe by Tom Shade. My friends, there is a power at work in the universe. It works through human hands, but it was not made by human hands. It is creative, sustaining, and transforming power, and we trust that power within our lives and with our ministries. It will sustain us wherever we take a stand on the side of love, wherever we take a stand for peace and justice, wherever we take a risk. Trust in that power. We are together held by that power. So may it be today and forever. Amen.